Hello and welcome to another morning briefing presented by Stein Investments. Today I'd like to continue with yesterday's topic about correlated currencies and how they stabilize each other. And today we have a pretty perfect example here, this time with the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc. The Japanese yen was showing some rising interest from retail trader side in new short positions, and this was also confirmed by our FX power analysis. And you can see that the Swiss franc is following the same direction, and for 2.5 hours now they are both moving constantly to the downside without any spike or reverse move to the upside. And that's exactly what you can also see in the corresponding Japanese yen pairs, for example. I won't go through all of them, but just to give you an example, that even if there is no strategy set up based on our other strategies like the breakout or the easy scalping, then it's possible that you can see consistent moves based on these correlated currency moves. This is kind of an experimental strategy I'm currently developing because I observed that this happens pretty often, and now I have to monitor and check if this provides us an additional trading setup opportunity in case the other ones don't work. And that's what we will find out over time. But I just want to give you the hint that it's always worth to have a closer look at what the FX Power sub-window here has to offer. And in this case, it's wonderful, clear, same as yesterday with the Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar. And now we have to find out how we can benefit from this information. In general, it's wonderful to see that there is some trust coming back from the retail trader side, and we can observe this here with the rising total trading volume. And the only trend that stands out is the rising interest in gold long positions. After it was falling for a few days, now the interest on the buy side comes back. Apart from that, there is nothing volume specific here to see. So let's move on to our currency overview. The currency overview is already sorted by the correlation of the currencies we check here. So this is Euro and British Pound, US dollar and Canadian dollar, Swiss franc and the Japanese yen, Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar. And in this example here, Swiss franc and Japanese yen, you can see perfectly how they match each other. The lines are almost drawn identical. So this is an evidence for the correlation between these currencies, and that's what we can see, or what we saw yesterday here as well in the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar. Today they are not perfectly in line, but that's not always the case. They are not always perfectly correlated, but it's important to know how these currencies work together. So checking the trend situation, we have currently only one with a stable buy dynamic. This is here the British pound, and these two with a very stable down dynamic, even if they don't have a long-term sell trend already formed. It's clearly see in which direction this goes. So the British pound against the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc would be the ideal constellation for today. And so let's have a look at the corresponding pairs, and then you can easily see that there already has been some good dynamic here today. And with our crosshair tool, you'll see that here the breakout strategy set up would have provided you an alert with double-sided dynamic, because the short term for the British pound is above the long-term trend, and the same is true for the Japanese yen, vice versa. But this move is clearly fueled by the Japanese yen, and you see it's perfectly streamlined, but already achieved. Don't see it currently. Panels have been overlapping. Pound against the Japanese yen already reached 124%. That is unfortunately too late for us. We should have been earlier on this one, but that's how it is. The other opportunity would be the British pound against the Swiss franc, and here we can see that this pair already reached 153% ATR, and so we are pretty late on that one as well. But today's excuse is that I had to finish the custom alerts update. I'll come to in a minute, because it contains several excellent new features for our users, and sometimes you have to set priorities, and then trading comes unfortunately behind the other tasks. So speaking about the custom alerts, this is my VPS based monitoring setup, where I cover the changes in FX volume as well as what happens in FX power. And then I have a mix of indices, gold and Bitcoin here running in this instance. And to cover all the Forex symbols, I have to set up additional instances in separate charts. And you will notice that now there is also running FX power here on them as well. And that's due to our new feature we embedded upon the wish of our customers that followed our easy scalping strategy, and we now provide an FX power filter option for the easy scalping alerts. So in this case, it's the delta of the FX power analysis period 3. This is the 1 week analysis period we have here. And this just ensures that we get an easy scalping alert only if there is a long-term trend with a delta of 20 between the first currency and the second currency of the pair. So this ensures that we trade in the direction of the main trend that is also confirmed by FX power. That's why we have this FX power sub window here and the IX power sub window here right above. So this delta of 20 is measured now between these thick lines. These are the long-term trend lines, and we now get an alert for this pair only if the delta between them is at least 20 or more. This new version 1.25 of the custom alerts tool contains a few more features, and you can read about them in the release notes we posted here at the product page. And we'd like to encourage you to update your copy as soon as possible to benefit from the improvements we provide. And as usual, all updates are free of charge. Let's move on to our non-Forex symbol analysis, starting with the Bitcoin as usual. And the Bitcoin provided an excellent easy scalping setup here during the night. So the Asian traders would have benefited from this one. And when all these lines are close together, it's sometimes good to exit a trade, as in this case, because you see these lines already deviate from the long-term trend, which is also weakening a lot. It's currently moving straight to the neutral area, so there are no further easy scalping alerts to expect for today. So let's have a look at oil. Oil is also currently neutral after a long down move. Short term, it's in the extreme area. Yeah, it's no trading setup for us, so we can drop that and move on to the Dow Jones. Dow Jones is always just a pre-market analysis from our side, and the Dow Jones is in a downtrend right now, so possible that this will continue, and if so, it's best to place the stop loss here at the last resistance, because the Dow Jones definitely tends to have some huge spikes, especially during news, which will be released later today. As far as I remember, there are some news from their JOLTS job openings. So yeah, you have to take care of that if you're trading the US indices. The German DAX hit the 80% ATR level and is currently returning to the downside. Unfortunately, it's no easy scalping setup because the one-day analysis was already on the buy side, while the long-term trend is on the sell side, so there is no alert to expect from this one as well. However, that's it for today. Please be careful, because I already said it yesterday, tomorrow is the release of the US CPI news, and they have to be considered like central bank news, and we probably don't see any major moves up front of that, besides President Trump provides some interview or speak or whatever he is willing to do to move the market. That's always very interesting. But anyway, please be careful, keep your money safe, and only trade if you are certain with your setup. That's it. I wish you a great day and see you in the next one. Bye bye.